It's a strange affection. It's too much to ask for. It's too much to ask for.
Yeah, my art teachers saw my sketchbooks. They recognised I liked illustration. They showed me artists that were relevant to me. I just followed street art blogs, and I had some friends that were into it, and just started going out to like abandoned buildings and having a go at painting. I think the first pieces of street art I did would have been in Leicester. My friend Jack Osborne was also an artist, and he did a lot of wall pastes where you draw something on like wallpaper and then paste it up like you would wallpaper in the street. So that was my first introduction to street art. After that, I started like going to abandoned buildings. There's quite a lot of old factories and stuff in Leicester, so we'd kind of break into them, paint something. But there was just something so freeing. It was like a great day out, sun's out, go somewhere really quiet and industrial, and just spend the day like making art. I just loved it. Just there for people to see. It doesn't necessarily have some like big motive behind it. I think it's sort of art for art's sake, which I really like. With spray paint, it's quick, it's immediate. You can get a lot of effects that are quite effortless in comparison with a brush, where it might take you a long time to blend something. It's just like spray paint's the effect for you. I guess there's a couple of factors. One being that I used to go to museums and sketch specimens a lot, and I was really drawn to like lizards in jars. I love the scales, and I developed quite an understanding of their anatomy. And it was also just a good excuse to use colour. I didn't want to paint brown furry creatures. I wanted to be doing like turquoise, pink, green animals. I also love flamingos for their like the long necks, the lankiness, that I just feel like their character has a lot of like movement within it. There are a lot of female street artists. Some big inspirations of mine, friends of mine, like Elno, Laws, Jane Mutiny. But it is a male-dominated scene. I'm not sure why that is exactly, but personally I've probably benefited from being female in this industry because it's almost like shone a spotlight on me. I started working with Jesmonite as a new way of making stuff, and then I learned to weld to sort of pair with that so I could make metal frames. It was really interesting seeing like my eye for colour and the aesthetic. I just appreciate feeding into such a different form. It's just been really fun to try new avenues of working. Most recently, I've done a few sort of quotes that I found inspiring, especially like since lockdown. I've wanted people to be out in the street and see something that just like cheers them up and makes them feel a bit like something they can relate to. So there's one with a Virginia Woolf quote. It's just a flamingo with a ribbon. It says, "This has to be lived," I say to myself, which I thought was a nice, like we just got to carry on through this difficult time in our lives, like friendly neighbourhood flamingo lady. Personally, I feel like I've had a spiritual top up. If I go to a gallery and I see an exhibition and I learn all about certain artists, it's like I go away and I'm just like a little bit better off inside. Went to the Dorothy Tanning exhibition at the Tate a year or two ago. Loved that. Dora Bar exhibition, also really good. Went to the Modern Couples exhibition at the Barbican, which spoke about different artists that sort of came together and had a romance throughout their lifetime. And yeah, I guess I'm a bit of a romantic as well, and just hearing about all these creators and how they inspired each other, it's just so life affirming and motivating. So yeah, I feel really blessed to live in London and have such access to all these art exhibitions. So yeah, I think modern art is really enriching and yeah, great for society. I brought you to a cemetery today because it's another part of Stoke Newington that I just love. It's really quiet. One minute you're on the main road, the next minute you're lost in the forest. I also feel really inspired by like macabre eerie themed. I don't know whether that always translates in my work. There is something about like darkness that really moves me, and I just thought this would be a nice setting. Maybe it contrasts a bit with the artwork you're about to see, but it's a place I really love.